What's up, everybody? Baron Monster coming at you with another action figure review. Today, from the G.I. Joe Classified series, we are looking at Storm Shadow, one of the main protagonists from the Cobra group in the G.I. Joe property. So let's open up this guy, take a look, and see what we got.
Hail Cobra!
So I know the packaging is pretty much all the same, but I think this one is one of the coolest looking ones in package. Mostly because of the amount of accessories that are included, which is kind of a lot for like a basic figure now. And the artwork right there, like that drawing of Storm Shadow, I think is absolutely awesome and one of the best arts that they've had on the outside of the G.I. Joe Classified since the line launched. Yeah, this artwork by Yuko Shimizu is just absolutely fantastic and looks really cool. I would honestly buy a poster of that artwork. So this is everything that comes in the package with Storm Shadow. You, of course, get the figure, hood attachment, the sheath for not only these two swords that are included, but also holds that arrow and the bow itself. And then there's that black thing is like a little sash that'll attach to the side. Now, this is, I think, one of the best figures accessory-wise that has come out. For a basic, like, on-the-shelf figure, not considered a deluxe, it's pretty loaded with accessories compared to other basic releases. So here you can see Storm Shadow fits in with the rest of the Cobra villains from the Classified series. Looks great. It's definitely kind of a classic look. I think he looks fantastic as far as fitting in with everyone. It looks modern, but it also looks very much like the original design that Storm Shadow had throughout the cartoon and in like the comics and stuff like that. So looking at the figure here, like I said, I think he looks fantastic. It does have like a retro look, but also looks modern at the same time, so it does a really good job paying homage to his original design. As far as like the articulation, pretty articulated figure. Have the ab crunch on here. The head is connected to a ball joint, so it's nothing too different from any other Classified figure. We've got the butterfly joints in there, so you get extended range of motion on the arms, as well as the all pinless double jointed elbows. Now, I believe this is the first Classified figure that is completely pinless, so that it affects the double jointed knees and the double jointed elbows. No pins, so it looks real smooth, seamless. Looks fantastic. Rockers on the feet. There's that thigh cut in there as well. And this has that hinge in there, so you can the poses you can get out of this guy is phenomenal. He's a very posable figure. I think it's one of the best. Also have the twist there at the torso. I think it's all in all a great figure articulation wise. It's one of the best. Way better than the other Storm Shadow that they did, which that winter version. The legs on that were just weird. Terrible figure, not that great. It's cool, you know, for what it was, paying homage to the original toy that it was based on, but this one's way better. So like I said, it does come with a sheath that holds pretty much all of his accessories. It's got the short sword, the long sword. It does hold the bow, which attaches to a little pin in the back. And there's one arrow that you can pose him with that fits right in there. It's a little bit harder to get that one in his hands. And these all just attach in the back. Like I said, that arrow is kind of hard to get in his hand, but still cool that they included it. Like I said, any accessories you get is definitely a win. So once you line it all up, it just fits right on the back. There's little pegs sticking out that you can attach the bow to. But I think it looks really cool. It's not too cluttering. I like how they did the sword and the quiver together. And this is the other hood option you have. You have the folded down and then the other hood. The head is a little bit more difficult to attach compared to other figures, so it's something to be aware of. But it looks cool with the hood. So Storm Shadow comes with the two swords. One's a little longer, one's a little shorter. They do have this really cool snake design in the hilt and pommel of the sword, which is really cool because, you know, of course, Cobra. So really cool. Got like the metallic on the blade. Think they're awesome looking swords. Pretty cool. Like I said, the more accessories you get, the better. So I'm definitely pumped about that. And here's that bow attachment in hand. Like I said, the arrow doesn't fit that well as far as when you put it on the bow itself. But hey, more accessories are better, and ninjas need weapons, so the more included is definitely great. So not counting the movie one, this is the other Classified Storm Shadow that we've gotten. This is the Arctic, like, costume or suit. Now, this one's a little bit more nostalgic for me. This is actually the Storm Shadow version I had as a kid. But there's some weird things about it. Its legs are kind of weird, doesn't stand right. Just nowhere near as good as the classic version of Storm Shadow that we have on the left. The cool thing about having that other Storm Shadow is you can give the accessories to this Storm Shadow. So another bow, a new sword, another quiver full of arrows. Now the colors don't exactly match. As you can see, it's more of an off-white than white, but still cool to have the extra stuff. So this is, of course, not the first ninja that Cobra's had. The red ninjas have been out for a little bit, so we now have a leader for the red ninjas in Storm Shadow. So the G.I. Joe figures are not the only ninjas out there. Marvel Legends has put out a ninja as well, which go in well with these. A little bit taller, but still fit in pretty well if you want to add some basic ninjas to your ranks. Now, we've also got the Articulated Icons Feudal series. So this was a common thing people were using for Storm Shadow until we got him. So they're a little bit shorter, but once again, if you just want to add some other ninjas into your clan, here you go. While he does look great with everyone, I think he particularly looks really good next to the Supreme Commander. That like black and white thing I think looks absolutely fantastic if you have these two together. Now, of course, we can't do a Storm Shadow review without including at least one shot with Snake Eyes. These two are classic enemies, so it's good to finally have two classic versions of these characters together. I think they're awesome. Then just a couple other photos with Storm Shadow, fun to play around with. You know, anyone with a bladed weapon, he would definitely win. And of course, if Cobra Commander gets tired of Destro plotting behind his back, he would be the one to call to deal with. So it's all around a great figure, so much fun to play around and pose with. And then just to reiterate, this is what the same company making a great figure and a bad figure looks like. So if you do plan on picking up the Storm Shadow, which I highly recommend, you're looking at a retail price of $22.99. You should be able to find that at most major retailers as the wave is out, as well as Hasbro Pulse. As far as the figure itself, I give this figure a 10. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a lot of fun to pose and mess around with. No complaints about the figure at all. Maybe some extra hands would have been the only other thing I think they could have done to make it better. But I think the figure is fantastic. And if you're a G.I. Joe fan or fan of ninjas or just cool figures, I highly recommend picking it up where you can. Well, that'll wrap up this review. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me for everyone that subscribes. Please leave any comments down below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.